Welcome to Catholic News Herald Update. My name is David Haynes. This is the initial episode of Update, and tonight we are going to begin with a focus on human trafficking. The Sisters of Mercy and Catholic Charities Diocese of Charlotte hosted a service on February the 8th, which is the feast of St. Josephine Bakhita. The purpose of the service was to pray for an end to human trafficking. Human trafficking is the trade of humans for the purpose of forced labor, sexual slavery, or commercial sexual exploitation. It also includes things like forced marriages and even the harvesting of organs. The public and the sisters gathered at the chapel of the Sisters of Mercy in Belmont to pay homage to the patron saint of Sudan, St. Josephine, who was held as a captive and suffered both torture and abuse. The service was led by Catholic Charities Respect Life Program Director Jessica Grabowski, who joins us now. Jessica, when we think of human trafficking, we don't necessarily think of the Diocese of Charlotte.
This is true, and I think we really need to, because a lot of times, mistakenly, people think of human trafficking as something that is very distant and not in their general communities. In fact, many people think of it as something that's only in other countries, when the reality is that human trafficking is all around us in our diocese. There's both sex trafficking and labor trafficking. The city of Charlotte is a big hub for human trafficking, especially sex trafficking. However, labor trafficking goes all the way out to the western points of North Carolina. So this is a big issue that's right around us.
And what kind of a situation would be involved with the labor trafficking?
Labor trafficking is when somebody, sometimes it's non-citizens is more often, they are held to work without little to no compensation. So their family could be in jeopardy, or the status of their citizenship or their children's citizenship could be at jeopardy, so they're forced to work for little to no pay.
And what, as Catholics, should we be doing about human trafficking?
As Catholics, the most important things to be doing now are praying and raising awareness, whether that's teaching your children, educating the parishioners around you, or even making sure your pastors are aware of this issue so that they can turn and educate their parishioners. Once we have the awareness piece, we can then turn and fight a stronger fight to end human trafficking.
Jessica, thank you very much for coming by.
Thank you, David.
When the bishop was once your pastor, any time that he is able to return to the parish, you can expect a pretty big crowd. Such was the case recently in Monroe at Our Lady of Lourdes Parish as it celebrated 75 years of community and worship. And here's a report.
This is Ann Howell with the Catholic News Herald. Today is Sunday, February 11th, and we are at Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church. It's their 75th anniversary, and Bishop Peter Judikas is here celebrating Mass for the parish. The bishop was the parish priest at Our Lady of Lourdes when he learned that the Holy Father wanted to appoint him as the 4th Bishop of Charlotte. His return to Monroe was a joyous occasion for the parishioners who packed the church to see their bishop and their longtime former pastor, Spiritan Father Ed Vilkauskas, who is now retired.
Well, it's the heritage of going through all of it. It's the memories of the saints and everything that we bring together, and it's the glory of our church having the name of Our Lady of Lourdes.
In addition to Father Vilkauskas, the Mass was celebrated by Our Lady of Lourdes pastor, Father Benjamin Roberts.
Leaving behind sin, leaving behind all obstacles to grace.
In his homily, Bishop Judikas preached that a parish has 3 main purposes. First, it serves as a place to worship God. It is a place for the sanctification of the individual, and it is a center of evangelization.
Your salvation, that's their primary purpose for being here, to serve your sanctification, to make sure that you continue to grow in holiness.
Father Vilkauskas has the distinction of serving the parish longer than any other pastor and was on hand 25 years ago for the 50th anniversary. Our Lady of Lourdes serves a large Hispanic population in the Union County community that worships side by side with the original members of the church that was formed when the military built a training camp nearby during World War II.
I can't always come to the Spanish Mass with them, so sometimes they'll come with me on Saturdays to the English one, or sometimes I'll come with them to the Spanish one. So they do that too.
For the Catholic News Herald, this is Ann Howell.
We are 1 week into the holy season of Lent, 40 days of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. Now, if you haven't done so already, you might want to visit the U.S. Bishop's website. It's usccb.org. The site contains an Advent-like calendar that allows you to see a daily reflection, a prayer, and a call to action with suggestions for how you can deepen your Lenten experience. And it includes things like almsgiving and suggested places where you might want to direct some of your funds during this holy season. As usual, the Catholic News Herald gathered a series of images from Ash Wednesday of the distribution of ashes in our parishes and schools. As you can see, Bishop Peter Jugas was busy at the Cathedral of St. Patrick. There is no age requirement to receive ashes, and many small children received the mark, as well as school-age boys and girls and adults. Catholic News Herald is covering Lent, as it always does every year. An edition coming up on March the 2nd.
Yes. In the March 2nd edition, we'll have a series of commentaries from people about how to deepen your Lenten experience. We'll also have a story about the dedication of the Bishop Curlin Clinic at Holy Angels in Belmont. And we'll have a story about former Swiss Guard for St. John Paul II, Andreas Widmer, who's speaking at Belmont Abbey College about faith and business. And we'll have a story about St. Mary's Church in Greensboro celebrating Black History Month.
And the edition comes out on March the 2nd, the hard copy, but you can get it early if you want.
Yes, you can sign up to receive a PDF edition of the paper Thursday afternoon in your email inbox.
All right, sneak preview.
Yes.
Patricia Guilfoyle is the editor of the Catholic News Herald. Patricia, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Finally, in the news, the website Church Pop has some worthwhile information about contacting the Pope by writing him a letter. Now, this is not a bad idea, writing the Pope a letter, because he has been known to personally write back to people and even to telephone people who have written to him. Now, the Pope doesn't do email. That means you have to write your letter out by longhand, or you have to print something out on your computer. If you're going to write the Pope, two things very important: be brief. Pope gets a lot of letters. Be respectful. The office of the Holy Father was created by Christ, and obviously Pope Francis deserves all of our respect. The U.S. Embassy tells us the address to send this to is His Holiness Pope Francis, Apostolic Palace, 00120, Vatican City. You don't have to write Rome, you don't have to write Italy on it. The Vatican is, of course, its own country. Now for the kicker on all of this: postage. If you want to send the Holy Father a postcard, it's going to cost you $1.15. If it's really important and you want to send it priority mail, $85. Needless to say, at those rates, I would imagine your question is going to have to be very important for the Holy Father. Now, if you hear back from the Holy Father, please let us know at the Catholic News Herald. We do have an email address. The address is catholicnews@charlottediocese.org. That's going to do it for this first edition of Catholic News Herald Update. I'm David Haynes. God bless.